Hello every single one of you and welcome to this crazy video where I'm going to reveal some shocking facts that are present in the Bitcoin price. So guys, let's just jump straight into it. It is going to be a little bit the macro perspective that we are going to talk about in this video, but it will nevertheless be a very important video to check for the potential upside during this bull market and for the potential downside and which requirements we need to have in this world in order to get to those levels. So yes guys, let's just jump straight into it. First of all, let me share something that I shared over on Twitter as well, because this has definitely to do with what I'm going to say, but I'm not really able to say it out loud. But this is one of the tweets that I made, and I say that these ones are coming back. And actually guys, and this sounds maybe pretty weird, but the best thing for the regular financial markets right now and for Bitcoin is that this is coming back, or any crisis actually has to come in order to get the incentive back to create new money, which eventually is going to the stock market and to risk on assets like Bitcoin, and eventually will drive the price up. And I'm going to show you why with a lot of evidence, guys. This is the Bitcoin chart on a macro scale. This is the weekly chart, and you can see that we are clearly in a rising channel, right? So if you have no time horizon as an investor, if you are a true hodler, then you shouldn't worry about Bitcoin unless we are breaking out of this channel, right? But so far, as long as we are in this macro channel, you have nothing to worry about. Bitcoin is in an uptrend and looking extremely good. But there is a but, and what we have seen in 2020, here we have seen we actually had a mini bull market in 2019, massive correction, then we had the March 2020 crash, and then in 2020 we actually, till 2021, we had that major bull market, right? Where Bitcoin just rallied from 4,000 to 65,000 US dollars. And it really it feels like a bull market. It looks like a bull market in terms of US dollars. But what happened with the Federal Reserve? Actually, what spiked this for the Bitcoin price to go that high? And if we go to this chart, this is the M2 money supply. This shows how much newly money is being created and being pushed into the system. And that is right here. You can see February 2020. Bam, we get a massive increase, February 2020. So guys, we can see right here that in 2020, when that money supply increased, Bitcoin's price just skyrocketed. And around the time that the money supply stopped increasing, so like it just stopped increasing, it didn't go that much up anymore, we actually saw that Bitcoin was stopping out. So that is kind of crazy that there's such a correlation between the newly created money and Bitcoin's price. But that's not all, because we also have the Federal Reserve asset balance sheet. So this is the total assets from the Federal Reserve. When did it went up? March 2020, exactly after that crash. They bought up a lot of assets and they pumped up the price basically. And when did it turn over? Beginning of 2022, when the bear market started for the regular financial markets and for Bitcoin. This chart is rolling over. There is no coincidence, guys, that there is a correlation. Although we all would like that Bitcoin is the new monetary system, a fair system that we all use for day-to-day transactions. Right now, in this part of the adoption phase that we are right now, it is not the case yet. It is solving a lot of problems, but the price won't go up if we don't see that behavior from the Federal Reserve. Because when the Federal Reserve is printing new money, creating new money, then we are seeing people going into risk-on assets like S&P 500 and Bitcoin, which is driving the price up. And there are actually two things I wanna say about this. Because the first thing is, of course, when dollars are being created, it will be very good. But when too much dollars are being created, the dollar can collapse into hyperinflation. So think about that. If you would be the owner of, if you would be the boss of the US dollar, what would you do? Right? You might want to stimulate the economy, but you don't want to hyperinflate your own currency. Because if you hyperinflate your own currency, you might get into trouble and you lose all your power. Right? So there will definitely be coming times of deflation again, definitely, because they won't crash the US dollars. And when we are seeing times of deflation, I'm pretty sure that risk on assets will go down, because the value of dollars basically go up when they do something like this, when they decrease the money supply right here. This was a full-blown bear market, ended with a maybe not official in America, but a lot of countries, like for example right now in the Netherlands, is officially in a recession. So we are officially in a recession. What makes it even more crazy, guys, and this is pretty mind-blowing if you ask me, is if you look at Bitcoin divided by the money supply, because then the chart suddenly looks completely different. So this is Bitcoin divided by the money supply. And if we then look at where Bitcoin is in this cycle, or how the last bull market looked, then we actually haven't got that much. The bull market wasn't that much higher than the previous all-time high at 20,000 US dollars. We might went to 30 or 40,000 US dollars right here when we have a look at purchasing power. So this chart is completely different than this chart. This chart looks like, whoa, this is a full-blown bull market. 2020, 2021 was crazy, but actually right here, 2017 was more crazy than 2020. So this is also showing us that the momentum on Bitcoin in the longer term time frame is slowing slightly down, and that the next high in Bitcoin, if we were to reach the top of this channel again, really depends also on the money supply, right? And that high might not be that much higher than the previous all-time high. And if it is way higher, like for example in this chart, where we can see that the top of the channel would be early in 163,000 and later at 230,000, like the chance, if Bitcoin were to reach these levels, 160, 230 in the next bull market, then we will 100% have seen a massive increase in the M2 money supply. Otherwise, that is just not possible with the liquidity that is out there. The liquidity in the crypto markets, guys, is completely dried up. I'm actually quite surprised and amazed how Binance, like one of the biggest exchanges, is able to hold strong right here. There are a lot of market makers, guys. They are leaving to different markets. They all went to Forex. The liquidity on Bitcoin exchanges right now, I have the feeling, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is right now lower than it was right here in 2020. I had the feeling more stuff was happening right here than right now. If you right now as a Bitcoin investor have like 10 Bitcoins and you sell 10 Bitcoins on one of these exchanges, you have actually a chance that you influence the Bitcoin price due to the dried up liquidity. So that's kind of crazy, right? So that is definitely something we have to watch. And that's also why I say in this tweet, I'm basically explaining what you should do whenever this is happening. Because there are a couple of things. If this would come back, and I think something has to come back, because if something doesn't come back, like a crisis, there's no reason to print money. And when there's no reason to print money, this will just end up in a recession. But I don't think that that's the case. I think, in terms of probabilities, I think that there has to come a new crisis very, very soon in order to start the money printer again. But before the money printer gets on, they of course first want to crash the whole system, because we need that reason for the money printer to go on. If the money printer just go on, we actually never see that. We never see, we're just gonna double the US dollar supply right now. We need a crisis. There need to be a catalyst. Catalyst is a better word. There need to be a catalyst, and I think that catalyst might even come in the next coming months. Maybe there's some news article. Maybe, like I've said right here, they're talking about this and this again. Maybe something is happening again. Things will crash down in the month of September. Who knows? Get a last shakeout. Money printer goes on, and then we go back into the bull market. What you can do with this information, because this information is actually super valuable, is we can look at the behavior of the Federal Reserve, which has a huge impact on risk on assets. And apparently, guys, Bitcoin is right now just in the category of a risk on assets, right? If people don't have money to buy bread, they won't buy Bitcoin either. So that is just important to realize. It is the economy right now is just risk on or risk off, and right now we are in the middle. We are kind of in between, because we did we did really undershoot the value of Bitcoin. That's why we needed to have a bounce or a breather. But I think at this point of time, we are really dependent on basically what the Federal Reserve is doing. And when there comes a new crisis and when the money printer goes back on, this is basically the best thing that can happen for Bitcoin, because it will mean a lot of liquidity will flight back into crypto. But we gotta be realistic and also take that liquidity and that newly created money into consideration into the way we view the Bitcoin price, right? So we really gotta view it. As the way it is. This is kind of a illusion of the Bitcoin price. And the reason why I'm saying that, guys, is because I'm doing a lot of research into this. Soon I will have an article published about this, and you will get more information. It will be very interesting. But it is kind of crazy, because if we look at the regular financial markets, I'm tracking some cycles right here, but you can see that we never. This top right here is the .com bubble top in the year 2000. We never surpassed that top. If you take inflation into consideration, we never surpassed it. That is crazy, right? Everyone thinks we are in a massive bull market, and the stock market is reaching new all-time highs after new all-time highs after new all-time highs. But in reality, guys, we might been in a 20-year-long bear market. See what kind of illusion this is. This is crazy. This is super, super crazy. This chart just shows of course we have periods where things goes a little bit better. We have periods when there is panic. We have periods when things are on an uptrend right here. But if you just look from the top till now, which right now we are still lower, we are 23 years in a bear market in the stock market. Well, try to explain that to any economist. They will tell you are crazy, but it's actually true, and it all has to do with this chart. Because if your purchasing power goes backwards, but your amount of dollars goes upwards, you're not gaining any wealth. You're not gaining any value, right? The number of the thing that you own just went up. But that number in comparison to the total number of existence didn't go up. So your purchasing power declines while the number of dollars increases, which creates the illusion for you that you have more wealth, that you have more money, while in fact you can buy lesser things. So this is something we are really going to focus on in this channel as well. We are going to really take that money supply into consideration and try to get a better understanding of how these assets are valued and what we can do with it. Because I was tracking some cycles, and I tracked one cycle, and I've shared that sometimes right here on the channel too. But I was tracking one cycle, and that cycle told me basically that the top of the business cycle was the year 2000, when the .com bubble crashed, right? And then I was thinking but how can that be the top when we actually saw 2008, the price went up, and then we had the fall of the Lehman Brothers, then we had a correction again. So it made sense in one end, because the .com bubble is a very popular time, a lot of mania, the internet and stuff came, but it just didn't make sense for me. If that was the top of that business cycle, then why we saw another top in 2008? And then I start to think hey, but what if I take that creation of the money supply into the equation too? And then I just saw okay, it was exactly the freaking top. This is undeniable. This is a undeniable truth. The top of the economy since the past hundreds of years was in the year 2000. It's not now. It looks like now when you check the normal S&P 500, but it's not. That is an illusion. And based on these cycles, I can tell you exactly when the major low is going to happen in this cycle and when we are going to start the new cycle. Because I'm going to tell you already right now, there are some dark times ahead of us if I'm looking at these cycles, but these dark times can bring lots of opportunities, and there are also very much bright times ahead of us. And right now I'm working on a system that will already tell me right now till 2030 which years the price most likely will go up and which years the price most likely will go down. But in terms of Bitcoin, guys, we are definitely very much dependent on what the Federal Reserve is doing. So when we do get a crisis like we had in 2019, 2020, and I think a lot of people, they actually suffered from this crisis because of all the restrictions. Maybe they suffered physically, they suffered mentally, but I would ask you guys to try and take advantage of this. Try to see it from the positive way. If something happens again, I don't know, I can't predict the future, right? But if something like this would happen again, don't get shocked, don't get blown out the field, don't stop the fight. See the positivity in it, see the opportunity in it, do whatever it takes, what makes you healthy. Go to the gym, eat healthy, go outside, try to take advantage of this opportunity, because it won't be forever, right? This is just a temporary situation, and it doesn't make, and you can either choose, or you take advantage of it, or you let yourself be suppressed, or you let yourself be depressed by the situation. Like, I remember what I've learned from the past time in 2019, 2020. I was super focused on all these numbers. I was watching the news regularly, and in the end, I was just like, that wasn't the best. That wasn't the best time of my life. So then I took a plane. I remember I took a plane to Indonesia, where I was with my wife, and we just had a beautiful life there. And we didn't even knew what was going on. We knew a little bit what was going on in the rest of the world. I was making videos, but it was just so in the background of us that when I remember when I was in holiday watching the news and getting influenced by that, they really try to get you in a state of panic, in a state of unhappiness, right? But don't let them. Just see the opportunity, take the advantage. If it comes, be happy. Okay, they print money, Bitcoin goes in a new bull market. I'm going to capitulate on this. I'm going to extract so much money from this market, and I'm going to use it to better my life. That's what we are going to do. So that's just my message for you guys. And for the shorter term time frame, I haven't looked too much at Bitcoin in short term time frame, but we do see a new TUSD has been minted. I've shared this over on the WhaleAlerts Telegram channel. We are sharing this over on the free Telegram channel down below in the description. I also shared this over on Twitter. In terms of the shorter term time frame for Bitcoin, we do have a 60-day cycle low. So guys, when we have a look at the Bitcoin cycles, we can see that we are right now on day 10 of the 60-day cycle. So we formed already that low. If we go to the Bitcoin price, we can see that low was formed, maybe this or this one. One of these is the low. So we are quite early in that cycle. I think I'm going to speculate that eventually this will be a failed cycle. So we will fail to hold this level and go lower. That's what I think as of now. If we reclaim some key levels, I will change my opinion. But we are also, and that I also have to say, we are early in the cycle. We are very early in the cycle. So it is possible that Bitcoin goes a little bit higher and, forms the top sooner or later, but not right now, a little bit later, and then goes back down. So that is just something I want to give to you. We are still early in the cycle, so it is still possible for Bitcoin to see some higher levels. We are seeing new stable coins being minted. So yeah, that was the basically what we are seeing in the short-term time frame. Guys, don't forget, join the free Telegram, join the other Telegram as well, which is more important, just by signing up on Bybit or BitGet. Follow me over on Twitter. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We've been now already through so many things in the markets, and I really think, guys, with all the research that I'm doing, I really think I can make a roadmap for the next 5 to 6 years to really get a grip on what are the major turning points in these markets. What are the major turning points, and when do we need to be selling? When would we need to be go all in? And I will be sharing that, of course, over on the channel. But I think it is also really important to look at the markets, from a purchasing power standpoint. Like right here, that right now we're just trading at the 2017 all-time high. That's just how I view the markets. We are right now trading at the 2017 all-time high. We are not trading above that. Although the US dollar valuation right now is higher, that doesn't mean that your purchasing power is higher, right? And that's also why a lot of people, including me before, live in the illusion that we are in the regular financial markets in a 20-year long bull market. That's not true. That is not true. But okay, guys, that was a pretty long video for today's video, so you got a lot of things to digest. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, make sure to smash up that like button. If you are new, make sure to subscribe. I wish every single one of you a very beautiful day, and I hope to see every single one of you in the next video.